8 reasons why Yellowstone is better without Kevin Costner's John Dutton IA. There are a few convincing reasons that Yellowstone is better without Kevin Costner's John Dutton IA. After the Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 premiere wasted no time revealing John Dutton's fate. Beth, Kelly Riley, and Case, Luke Grimes, arrive at a crime scene at the governor's mansion. While the scene is staged as a suicide, Beth is convinced that her adopted brother, Jamie Wiz Bentley, is behind the murder, and she vows to kill him in Yellowstone Season 5. Episode 10, The Apocalypse of Change. As such, the war between Beth and Jamie is in full swing. After John Dutton IE's Yellowstone fate, the father isn't around to pick whether he will be Team Beth or Team Jamie in the war for the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. Costner took a step back from the series because of several factors. Scheduling conflicts due to the writers' strikes in Montana's winter, pay negotiations, and Costner's involvement in his passion project, Horizon. An American Saga all contributed to him not returning to cap off Taylor Sheridan's neo-Western. That said, with more spotlight for characters like Beth, Case, and Rip Kohlhauser, John's early death may have been the best thing. Beth and Jamie have been at odds since the dawn of Yellowstone, and John's absence from the Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 story enables the siblings to fully engage in their rivalry. While John knew for a while that he couldn't fully trust Jamie, he gave his adopted son countless chances to redeem himself and work for the family while earning his trust. It makes sense that John wanted to give Jamie another chance a few times since he raised him as a son. Still, John's Yellowstone fate makes it clear that John trusted him too much. With John out of the picture and Case officially taking Beth's side, choosing to work together with his sister to fight for the ranch, none of the Duttons will get in Beth's way of taking Jamie down now. Sarah Atwood, Dawn Olivieri, is the only person who remains on Team Jamie in Yellowstone Season 5. With no one to protect him, Jamie and Beth's war will lead to monumental moments in Season 5. While Jamie's Yellowstone Season 5B fate is unclear a few episodes into the installment, the character is headed for Demez after betraying his roots. With Costner out of the picture, it is easier for Yellowstone Season 6 to happen. Due to significant production delays, the characters and narrative shifted dramatically when Yellowstone finally returned for Season 5, Part 1. That is all the more true in Part 2. And while the story is the same, a feeling exists like Yellowstone is entering a new era. While Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 was discussed as the end of the series, it looks like the story will continue with Yellowstone Season 6, possibly starring fan-favorite Dutton Ranch lovebirds Beth and Rip. For Beth and Rip to truly step into the spotlight and bring the Yellowstone franchise into the future, it's best with John out of the picture. While the series isn't the same without Costner, ultimately, that change has established a new generation of the series. Now that Yellowstone has done John Dutton's divisive death, characters like Beth, Rip, and Case can move on in Yellowstone Season 5, allowing them all to process John's death before Season 6. The transition time enables the characters to tackle new, exciting narratives. John's fate forces Beth, Case, and Rip to run the ranch. As we've witnessed from stories that unfold in the Yellowstone prequel series, 1883 and 1924, the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch has been passed down from generation to generation. John's death and the passing of his legacy are not a tragedy for the series. It's the natural order of Sheridan's Yellowstone universe and the stories of its characters. Just as James leaves the ranch to Jacob in 1924, who will leave it to Jack or Spencer, John leaves his ranch to the next generation. Beth, Case, and Rip actors Riley, Grimes, and Hauser have all said they want to reprise their Yellowstone characters in a continuation of Sheridan's story. John's children and his top ranch hand always had compelling narratives in Yellowstone leading up to Season 5, and his death allows their stories to take center stage. While Costner was a perfect protagonist for the series, the ranch had to change hands eventually. John's death officially paved the way for that, not leaving any question about whether John would ever step aside and let the next generation take over. John's death makes way for several key developments, including a closer relationship between Beth and Case. The siblings are never close in the first 5 seasons of Yellowstone, but after their father's death, Beth and Case lean on each other. After discovering John's alleged suicide, Case puts his arm around his sister and comforts her. Before John's death, Beth and Case's interactions concern the sister's issues with her brother about the best way to run the ranch and how he factors into that. Initially, Beth believes Case is bad for the ranch, but now she needs his help. Beth and Case are able to avoid each other in Yellowstone, mostly because they both have close relationships with their father, and that takes priority over their communication with each other. Now that Jamie has betrayed their family, Beth and Case are the only remaining 6th-generation Duttons, and they have to work together to save the ranch from their brother and the state of Montana. Beth's growing alliance with her brother is good news for the possibility of Yellowstone Season 6, which would center one or both of the siblings as the next protagonist running the ranch. Another bright side to John's absence is that Case can finally decide what he wants to do with his life without his father's input. Ever since Case returned to the ranch in Yellowstone, his father has spoken for his time, shaping the course of Case's life regarding what is best for the ranch. While Case is set to inherit the land and benefit from his father's constant pressure, John's expectations have weighed on him. The youngest Dutton has sought answers about how to move forward, including Case's visions in Season 4 that set up Yellowstone Season 5. Despite struggles with his father, Case makes sure that he does things differently, proving that the next generation of Duttons makes up for John's worst failure. In Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 10, Case converses with Tate about John's death. The father and son discuss John's legacy, with Case probing the 7th-generation Dutton about whether he wants to continue his grandfather's work, saying that he will ensure that it happens if so. Case allows Tate to choose to run the ranch while equally supporting his dreams. By doing things differently, Case redeems his frustrations and brings clarity to his own future. With John out of the race, it's hard to dispute that Rip is the best person to run the ranch. Rip has been working there most of his life, executing John's bidding without question for decades. When Case left to start his life with Monica, Kelsey Asbill, Rip was there to support the 5th-generation Dutton rancher, and he has been a constant for the ranch. Rip knows the land as well as any Dutton. And now that he's part of the family as of the Yellowstone Season 4 finale, there's a good chance he will run it. Beth knows better than anyone how Rip has dedicated his life to the ranch, and she calls it to John's attention while there's still time for the Dutton patriarch to acknowledge this. After Case moves home and takes over the ranch foreman's house, Rip moves back into the bunkhouse, and Beth is devastated for her partner. Beth knows that Rip deserves more, having given more to the ranch than anyone else, and she sticks up for the man she loves. During one of Beth's best moments in Yellowstone, she reads Rip a letter from John acknowledging all his hard work. After backlash from fans who felt cheated by his death, the Yellowstone star responded to the adverse reaction to John's Season 5 fate, saying, "It was always the plan." Grimes, who plays Case, explained in an interview with People that to ramp up the story, John dying and leaving his children to run the ranch was always in the cards. 5 seasons of Yellowstone and Sheridan's writing reflect the decision, with John constantly preparing his children for what's to come. The fall of John Dutton was impending despite surviving cancer and brutal gunshot wounds. Knowing that John's exit was always in the works may give frustrated viewers peace of mind. It wasn't just Costner's Yellowstone exit that booted his iconic character out of the series. Sheridan always intended to write Costner's Dutton out because it would make the series better to introduce him and his legacy, and then show his children grappling with how to preserve it after his death. It makes sense to look at Yellowstone's landscape from that perspective. Sheridan chose strong leads in Riley's Beth and Hawser's Rip to replace Costner's protagonist. With John out of the picture, if Beth follows through with her threat to personally kill Jamie, John Dutton i.e. doesn't have to experience losing another child. John made it increasingly clear that he didn't trust Jamie, but he gave his adopted son second chances when he should have turned his back on him and listened to Beth. As such, with Sarah Atwood's help, John is now dead.